Hello, friends. Welcome back to Value Vintage Cards. This one, I'm going to go through my recent COMC delivery. I kind of use COMC as a stockpiling of kind of just weird random stuff. A lot of times it's things that I wish I could find at the local card shop because they're things that should be like 30, 40 cents, a buck, something like that, where like you can't really get it shipped on eBay for anything close to that kind of price. But COMC, if you go there and buy directly, you can basically just cart a bunch of things, and you've bought them. They're reserved. They're just kind of in their warehouse of storage for a while, and then every however often, a month, two, six, whatever, you just go ahead and pay shipping, and then you get all the items shipped at one time. So this is a huge order for me, in terms of like quantity. So if you look at like shipping per, if you distribute it by dollars, some of these might be a penny or two to ship, and if you distribute it by card, it's probably a few cents per, because there's so many items that were received. So I like that strategy as a way to kind of negate the shipping aspect. And you'll see it's a range of things I picked up here. So you'll see themes, which is a lot of the way I collect. So first five are probably the most random. um, Picked up a Dan Kovaleski. Part of that is I don't have a playing days item of his yet. I'm doing the Hall of Famer birthday posts, and some of them are Hall of Very Good. So I needed something to represent him in my collection. Um, Albert Spalding, Al Spalding, which we all probably have recognized that last name from buying sports equipment. Snagged a Seaver sticker, rough thing that's probably 20 some cents. I can't remember what I paid for that. Not much, that's for darn sure. This one is a 1987 Sporting News. Kind of talk about that. A lot of us will buy like recent, modern cards for the cool image, and neat write up. And that's really what that is. So it's Christy Mathewson, shows his career stats, little write up on the back, cool picture on the front. And that was literally a few dimes to buy. I collect multiplayer cards. I mean, to narrow my collection down in some way, shape, or form, because good Lord, if you start collecting all those, you're going down every rabbit hole in the world. But I try to focus on the ones that are at least all players that are people want to collect. So when they're all Hall of Famers on the card, I have no problem snagging that and grabbing that. Um, some of this I use with COMC as a way to pick up, like I said, like low dollar cards. So I'll grab myself a Sandberg that I didn't have. I like those jerseys. I've always liked the kind of gray pants with blue top color combo, um, for the Cubs. But Andre Dawson sticker. I was noticing I don't have a lot of Dawsons. I didn't necessarily rank him as like a favorite player when I was a kid, but it does seem like he's an awful nice guy and good student of the game and good steward. So, Stadium Club card, that was a huge set when that came out, as was this one. 89 Upper Deck. Um, Exposed Days. So 82 tops and an 81. And again, those are all like sub buck. So pretty decent deal. Coming up, we're going to have a February 2nd birthday. I know his birthday because he's, I think, the only Hall of Famer that shares with myself. So, Red Shandies as a manager. So I snagged a 70, 69, which was actually a pretty nice shape card. And then getting back into playing era, I snagged a 59 as well. So I figure between shared birthday and him being a second baseman like I was when I was 10, might as well stock up a little bit and support that. I've been trying to add to my Hank Aaron collection a little bit as well. So this one is a 77 PCMA. So again, it's very low dollar buck kind of item. Um, get him a little bit bruised up, but you still get the cool image and cool write-up. Um, these are always fun when you can get any of those like food issues hand cut from the 70s. This is a 76. So you get Hank with the Brewers right at the end of his career. Kind of a neat little item. In the 70s, they did a lot of retro kind of cards. So I always like these. I think they're neat. You get to see what, a 4 year span is all at once. So 54 through 57 and then 58 through 61 on the other one. Um, Kind of a neat way to get Hank's run. Um, they are card number 2 and 3 in the set as well. So I'm not a set collector, but a Hank collector. So I'll officially declare myself as a Hank Aaron collector. What's next? Let's go with these goofy things. These are fun. So these are all PCMAs. Looks like three of them are 73, and one of them might be just a range, 75 through whatever. But um, sometimes you get things just for the image. And I did double check. I think these were all like a couple bucks, $2, $3. None of them are really very expensive. Um, so that should be a 73. That's blank back, but great image of Mathewson. The next one is a postcard back, and they call it a 75. And again, looking at those Hall of Famers, it's not easy. Tris Speaker, I've got some items of, but Wilbert Robinson, um, generally pretty tough. Player way back in the day, and manager even back like early 1900s. So not easy to pick up one of his. And then the last two I got for the image. So I think Buck Ewing with mascot, and you can find that card, is a win. I followed one of them on REA and didn't win, but it's on the radar. I think if I'm going to get a Buck Ewing playing days card at some point, I might as well go for the one that's kind of most interesting. And the one with mascot is kind of a cool image. So Hall of Fame catcher. And the next one is Hank Greenberg in his very, very famous Pittsburgh Pirates uniform. So again, always fun to see things that are a little different than you expect. So you can just snag a Hank Greenberg with the Pirates uniform on. That's something different. Let's jump. There's a lot here. Another one I mentioned, kind of getting some of those cards for image. If you want to stick with an older set, we just did the Four Collectors episode as well, and just looking at those like bargain items, all of these were like $1 to $3. 1960 to 61, Fleer did a couple of different issues. Um, and you can pick these up for, again, they're not perfect. They're good VG kind of condition. Some have creases, some don't. The backs are generally solid enough. I mean, you're not getting like paper loss and writing on a whole lot of them, so they're solid. You can pick up a Chief Bender. This one actually looks really crisp. Sorry for the fingers, but Home Run Baker, snag a. I won't show the back of all of them because I do have a lot to show. Charlie Gehringer, Harry Heilman. It's a great way to pick up some Hall of Famers that you might not have, any of or many of in your collection. If you're doing Hall of Fame runs, you just want some extra diversity, kind of fun. Chuck Klein. This one's really not super huge post playing days. Bob Feller. He's been playing in the 50s, so it's not too far after his career ended. Um, Lefty O'Doul. Good one. Big Ed Walsh. It's cool images. You get like a different kind of image that you don't necessarily see on a whole bunch of cards. So it's a great way to um, maybe get to know the player in a little bit different dynamic. See them a little better image of their face, a little better image of their uniform. Frank Chance. Like this one a lot. Jimmy Fox. And the last one's a guy I've been trying to add a few of when I can. Gabby Hartnett. So all those are kind of just, fun Fleer cards. Um, all obviously retired post playing days items, but that's okay. Need some fun stuff to toss in and keep the collection interesting, right? This one's an R314 36 wide pen. Actually, I was talking about that as well. Rick Farrell with his brother Wes, who was probably um, just as deserving for Hall of Fame consideration. So really, they should be Hall of Fame brothers, but I believe only Rick is in right now. Wes probably has a good argument. But cool image like that. And that literally, I think that was like $14, $15. Like it was not a big deal. As were most of these. Most of these, I'm trying to call out the amounts just because I want to, make some of these things a little more accessible and realistic for folks. And just throw out some ideas if you're looking for, something to spend $15 on instead of 1,500. Like that's a cool option. That's a neat card. Um, this one, I think I have this, but I do not have the O-Pee-Chee version. So 71 O-Pee-Chees to me, with the back being just so unique and different, are really fun. So thought I'd grab a Ted. Couple other Canadian issues. These are 1933s. I believe both are 33. It's a really interesting issue. Because Canadian Gaudi, when you get into that type of issue back in the 30s, sometimes the 33 and 34 got kind of blended, it seems. These are both, yeah, these both have English and French. But I liked the Burley Grimes an awful lot. When I have the ability to grab a Canadian version instead of just a standard Gaudi, um, I think I probably paid a slight premium for these. The Canadian issues tend to either go for sometimes a slight discount, sometimes a slight premium, and I don't really grasp why. To me, um, beautiful image, same thing you're going to get with Gaudi, but the fact that population is usually 5 to 10% of what U.S. issue is. I'm a big fan of scarcity. And here's a non-Hall of Famer that I have a decent little collection of. Um, given the option, I will target him as a player to add to the collection for sure. Lefty O'Doul had some amazing hitting years. Not a real long career. Did a lot with bringing baseball overseas as well, though. So, but super cool when you look at the back and you see French and English. And at the bottom, right by my finger, it says printed in Canada, huge, and Montreal and Worldwide Gum Company instead of Gaudi. So, Worldwide Gum, Canadian Gaudi issues are among my favorites. I love this 33, 34 time frame issues. And pretty crisp cards. Not crazy expensive, but they're not a dollar either. Let's jump over. I'll go with the most recent one that I've shown in a minute. This is a 1987, I guess it would be, Cons. So it's a rookie of Barry Larkin. So getting into that junk wax childhood era for me, that's 10-year-old Aaron, um, collecting these kind of cards. Obviously, I would not have seen a cons issue growing up and going to the local card shop and whatever else. So saw that and I was like, that's super cool. I always like Barry Larkin, so I will snag that. This one I got, it is actually if you want to go with like firsts of things, it would be the first Venezuelan Tops issue card, and that's just because it's number one. So I thought it was kind of a fun project to look and try and get the last one issued and the first one issued in like literal sense. So 1959 Tops, card number one, and the Venezuelan technically first issue card would be Ford Frick. So, what? I mean, definitely beat up. Definitely, definitely, clearly has not near mint qualities, but for Venezuelan issues with the surface being rough and lacking the gloss and some of the finer finishing of U.S. printing, um, that's still representative, still a good image. Back is completely able to be read, so I will take that. I wanted to add that for a very specific reason to my collection, so happy to have that as well. Next couple I will show are W517, one of my kind of favorite sets. All these hand cuts. I never mind an ungraded version. It's definitely not cut perfectly, but the main image of it is fantastic. And Freddie Lindstrom, definitely underrepresented. I think I have one of his. That's only from doing like set collecting. So to get another Lindstrom item is kind of fun. Might be done with him at this point. He's always on that list of questionable slash least deserving Hall of Famers, but he's a Hall of Famer, and um, sometimes the personal story and how they got in, why they get in, makes it just as interesting as the inner circle guys. So the other one I added is definitely one that was on my list to add. So W517, Eddie Collins, Eddie spelled with a Y, which is not his usual spelling. But that's actually the one I've got the mini of as well. So I thought getting the full size and the mini next to each other would be cool. Plus, it's a set I collect. Plus, it's a player I collect. So how do you not grab that, right? And Beckett, good golly, you're talking about case sizing. Um, Pretty insane. Some of them they fit in like SGC has fit some in regular slabs, and then Beckett goes out of the way with like extra wide, extra tall, extra chunky case. So I'm fortunate to have a place to set that down. All right, final three. Thanks if you're still with me. This one I think it might be my first card of this Hall of Famer, but I absolutely love the set. I thought the card itself was really cool, and able to snag one that wasn't like super high grade and super pricey was ideal. So I wanted to. Sometimes I'd rather have like the rare set, the unique card, if it's a little more handled and loved. But I think that's great. Lou Boudreau acts clean, talks about his MVP. Like that to me is exactly what I would want. If I have one card to represent a player, I want it to be something cool. So the Lou Boudreau checks that box. And they labeled that one as 4849 Leaf. So SGC kind of transitions and says, we don't know what it is. And then the last couple got a couple of kind of fun, a little more rare items. So cons, I feel like I know the cons pretty well when they're in the 50s and early 60s, but in the late 60s, they started doing these issues that looked, I think it looks like a circus issue or something. I don't know, it looks like it's got some kind of like really eye-catching, colorful designs. Um, well into Hank's career, but I think that image of Hank is phenomenal. And they have it as Henry Aaron, which is also fun. But just to get as close as I can with that image, to me, that's what drew me in. So check out late 60s cons. They're all blank back, they're all cut. Some of them have better cuts than others. They can get pricey. There is a 68 bench, which would be cool to pick up. Don't see a lot of those. I think there's usually one on eBay, and it's for like some kind of exponentially high inflated price. But sometimes you don't blame folks because they probably don't want to really sell it. So if they're going to, they better be really persuaded with dollars to move on from an item. But not sure. And then this last one is a Johnston Cookies. It's one that's been on my list for quite a while. I saw it pop up on eBay. COMC is phenomenal at having their little logo there. You know immediately who's selling it. So the minute you see it on eBay, just go to COMC's website directly. You're going to get a much better price because they don't have to pay the eBay fees. So that is what happened with this guy. 55 Johnston cookies, Warren Spahn. And to me, for Warren Spahn, he has some phenomenal looking items. That would be in my top few. Love the leaf. Love some of those, uh, 47, 48s. Drake's is cool. There's a lot of really neat looking Warren Spahns. He's just some of his tops and, Bowman items are phenomenal. But to me, that's something you don't see as often. So I love rare scarce. I just think that's such a neat looking card and it is like a real card. So many of these we get, they're, hand cut and there's nothing on the back. This one you get basically real card details, shows a couple of years of stats, gives a little write up, gives some of his biographical information. But to me, awesome. Love that. So big mail day. Uh, Big additions. Some were pennies and some were not. But that's my COMC delivery. I've been anxiously awaiting for a few of those to add to kind of put them in perspective and see where they fit in the collection. But that's yeah, it's a lot of cards. So highly recommend COMC if you're looking at some low cost things, and if you do ever see anything pop up kind of like that, Johnston cookies or the cons or some of these W517s, you see it pop up on eBay. Just head on over, have a few bucks on your COMC account, um, you know, bucket it, check out. It's there. It's reserved. It's your card, and you can request shipping whenever makes sense. So it's a good system. It works well, kind of your online LCS. So I will catch up with y'all on the next one. Hope you're all doing well. See ya.